So here's a story that pretty much never happens in crypto. A coin launches back in 2017. An anonymous founder, a community of around 20,000 people that builds up around it. And then, in November of 2020, that same founder quietly sells hundreds of millions of his own coins and just walks away. Now, normally, that's where the story ends. The project dies right there. But this community did something you almost never see. They didn't walk away from the code, they walked away from the founder. And on New Year's Day 2021, they rebuilt the entire thing from scratch. No owner, no ICO, nobody in charge. That chain is Electra Protocol, ticker XEP. So today, let's walk through what they built, how it works, and that label everyone throws around, an ISO 200022 coin, because what it really means might surprise you. Let's get into it. So let's start at the beginning, because the origin is the whole point. Back in 2017, there was a coin simply called Electra, ticker ECA, built by an anonymous developer who went by Electra01. Real name? Never disclosed. And over the next couple of years, something genuinely cool happened around it. A big volunteer community grew up. And I'm not guessing at that. There's a peer-reviewed academic paper published in the Review of Social Economy in 2024 that studied Electra and put that community at roughly 20,000 people. So this was real. And then comes the rupture. In November of 2020, the founder sells his hundreds of millions of coins and disappears. And the community reads that exactly how you'd expect, as the founder killing the project. But here's the part that makes this a story worth telling. They didn't fold. Instead of clinging to the founder, they walked away from him and rebuilt the chain from scratch. So on January 1st, 2021, Electra Protocol, XEP, goes live. Brand new chain. No ICO, no public fundraise, and crucially, no single controlling holder. Old holders got a 10-day window to migrate over, and then that door closed. And the human face of all this? A developer named Antoine Aimé. You'll see him as Genova, who was there in the old days and just stayed and did the rebuild. So the whole first chapter is this. The code outlived the founder. The people decided the project was bigger than the guy who started it. So what did they rebuild it on? And this is where it gets interesting for anyone who likes Bitcoin. XEP is a fork of Bitcoin Core, version 0.21. You can look at the GitHub yourself, it's all out in the open. Same coins in, coins out model as Bitcoin, plus SegWit, Taproot, the Lightning Network, and atomic swaps right out of the box. But here's the key difference. There's no mining. None. XEP runs on pure proof of stake. And let me keep it simple. Instead of burning electricity with mining rigs, you just hold your coins in an unlocked wallet. The network randomly picks stakers to write the next block, and you earn around 3% a year for helping secure it. No 32 coin minimum like Ethereum, no middleman. The team literally says even a Raspberry Pi can run a node. Quick mythbuster too. The old ECA coin used an algorithm called NIST-5. XEP does not. That was the old chain. This is the fresh 2021 Bitcoin Core relaunch. Now, on speed, I want to be honest rather than just repeat marketing. You'll see 1,500 transactions a second thrown around. That's the design capacity, not a live benchmark it hits every day. It comes from a big 10 megabyte block every 80 seconds. And fees? They say near zero, and it basically is. A transaction costs about a couple 10 millionths of a cent. But it's not free. That tiny fee gets burned, removed from supply on every single transaction. So every payment quietly shrinks the coin count, and they've leaned into it. A big supply burn back in 2021, and every fee since then burned too. It's a small, honest, deflationary detail a lot of bigger projects just don't have. All right, this is the part a lot of you came for, so let's really get it right. Electra markets XEP as an ISO 20022 coin. So what does that even mean? ISO 20022 is a messaging standard, a shared data language that banks and payment networks are migrating to. Think Swift switching its old message format to the new one. Think the rails behind central bank digital currencies. It standardizes the message, the format, not the money. And on Electra's own ISO page, they badge XEP as compliant, and they say, quote, by aligning with ISO 20022, XEP is fully prepared for the next generation of financial communication. Now, here's the reality check, and it's the whole reason I wanted to make this one honestly. On that same page, Electra also admits, in their own words, that as a decentralized open source blockchain, Electra Protocol itself cannot be ISO certified. Let that sit for a second. There is no ISO body anywhere that stamps a cryptocurrency as ISO 20022 certified. It doesn't exist. So that compliant badge is a self-assessment, a design alignment, not a third-party certificate. And here's the fair part. This is true of every coin famously tagged this way. XRP, Stellar, Hedera, Algorand, the whole ISO list people trade around. They earned that label because the companies behind them joined working groups or built messaging tools, not because the token itself is some certified ISO artifact. So the honest takeaway is this. Buying a coin just because it's ISO 20022 is buying a design philosophy, not a guaranteed bank integration. And honestly, I'll give Electra real credit here, because most projects bury that caveat, and Electra put it right on the page. That's the kind of transparency you actually want to see. So Electra's whole slogan is real world, real use, real blockchain. Let's test that honestly. What actually ships versus what's just marketed. And the good news is a lot ships. There's a live mobile wallet called Omni XEP. On Google Play and the App Store right now, you can download it today. There's a wrapped version of XEP living over on Solana with real liquidity on Radium, plus a version on BNB chain. And there's a live block explorer. I pulled it up while making this. Real blocks ticking over, hundreds of nodes lit up on a world map, hundreds of contracts, live transactions scrolling by. And the freshest beat? This is weeks old. Back in May of 2026, they shipped a browser tool that lets a shop take XEP right on its website with one click. So this is an active, moving project in 2026, not a relic. Now let me be straight on the flip side, because trust matters more than hype. Some of the flashier stuff is announced, not proven. Their payment app, Electra Pay, future tense. A general smart contract layer they call Smart EP, planned, no date. And there's a marquee supply chain pilot with a food company they mention, but the company is never actually named, and there's no public case study. So I'll call it what it is, an unnamed pilot, not a confirmed deal. And on risk, honestly, this is a tiny network. Small market cap, thin daily volume, and a big chunk of that trading sits on a single exchange, so a modest order can move the price. There's no venture capital bag waiting to dump on you. But the trade-off is the roadmap moves at volunteer speed, because this whole thing is run by unpaid volunteers around the world. That's the honest picture. Real and working, but early and under-owned. So how should you actually think about a coin like this, without getting spun by a label or a price chart? Here's my fair read. XEP is a genuinely working, actively developed, honestly run microcap. The GitHub has commits running right into 2026. It speaks the ISO 20022 design language. But remember, that language is a philosophy every coin on the list shares, not a certificate. And you know what I find refreshing? In a market where everything suddenly has AI bolted onto it, Electra makes zero AI claims. None. A project that declines to chase a buzzword is, quietly, a bit of a green flag. So, if you're the kind of viewer who likes to verify things yourself instead of trusting a thread, and I think that's most of you, this is a project you can actually kick the tires on. Read their claims at the source, watch the chain move in real time, hold it to the same honest standard as anything else in your bag. Value is not the same thing as price, So judge it on whether real people actually use it. That's the whole game. So let's bring it home with something you can actually do. No money required, no price bet. Three things. 1. Verify the claim at the source. Read Electra's own ISO page down to that line where they admit a blockchain cannot be ISO certified. That one sentence is the reality check for every ISO 20022 coin you hold. 2. Test the chain for free. Download the Omni XEP wallet, push one tiny transaction, and watch it settle in about 80 seconds for a fee measured in millionths of a cent. Then watch that fee get burned. First-hand proof beats anyone's word. And 3. Track the real signals, not the ticker. Live merchants. On-chain liquidity growing beyond that one exchange. Validator nodes. The smart contract layer actually shipping. And a genuine thank you to the viewer who asked me to cover this one. I said I'd rather be late than lie to you. And here it is. The bottom line? XEP speaks the language banks are moving toward. But ISO 20022 is a philosophy, not a stamp. So verify it yourself, try the chain, and let real usage earn your conviction. If this was useful, and if you like crypto broken down honestly, no shilling, no price games, just the real information, do me a favor and hit that like button, and subscribe so you catch the next one. We dig into the projects most channels skip, so drop a comment and tell me which coin you want under the microscope next. Thanks for watching Information in Motion, and I'll see you in the next one.